Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Mandalorian Season 2 Boba Fett video. You want some good news? They just announced that Boba Fett will be showing up during Season 2 officially, so we'll break it all down. There's a bunch of Easter eggs. We even got that teaser from Season 1. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We'll do a Baby Yoda merch giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave all your Boba Fett predictions for Season 2 on the video. So we'll just break this down top 5 style, starting with number 5. If you didn't see the news, it just broke. Star Wars cast Temuera Morrison as Boba Fett for The Mandalorian Season 2. Now, he's not the main villain, that's still going to be Moff Gideon. But you all remember the Boba Fett teaser from The Mandalorian Episode 5 in The Gunslinger as sort of a post-credit scene. A lot of us saw that and just assumed that it was Boba Fett that they were trying to tease because of the way the spurs jangled, the same way that Boba Fett's boots jangled when he was walking around during Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Now it's confirmed that was Boba Fett in that post-credit scene. Now, the report that says he's showing up during Season 2 didn't say which episode he would debut in, only that he would have a relatively minor role during Season 2 with the possibility of a bigger role in The Mandalorian Season 3. So it sounds like they're sort of spinning up to bigger Boba Fett stuff in the future. They didn't say whether or not they cast him with the idea that they might also do a Boba Fett Disney Plus series as a spin-off of The Mandalorian, but that's always possible too. The Disney CEO said that they did have multiple Mandalorian spin-offs in the works. One of those is an Ahsoka TV series, one of those is this documentary series that just premiered, another one could be a Boba Fett series. So if there's only going to be a little bit of Boba Fett during Season 2, normally I would say they'd save some kind of big Boba Fett teaser for the Season 2 finale, but the way The Mandalorian Season 1 structured its episodes, there were a lot of one-off adventures outside the canonical ongoing Baby Yoda Moff Gideon main story. So hopefully they're using him for something big, but it sounds like his episode could appear anywhere during the season. But number 4, the reason why it's important that they got Temuera Morrison to play adult Boba Fett, as most of you probably realized when you were thinking about this, is because Boba Fett is another clone of Jango Fett, and Temuera Morrison played Jango Fett during Attack of the Clones, served as the basis for all the clones. So if they ever did live-action clones in the Star Wars universe, they would all look like Temuera Morrison. Now, Daniel Logan played child Boba Fett during Attack of the Clones, and this is what he looks like as an adult. He has worn a Boba Fett costume since he grew up, but it's still just more accurate to cast Temuera Morrison as Boba Fett if you're doing him live action. And they even went back and dubbed his voice as Boba Fett into Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back whenever he speaks, after doing Attack of the Clones, so that the continuity makes a little more sense. Even though we know it's going to be him under the helmet, the thing about Boba Fett is that he never took his helmet off. That eventually wound up inspiring the future Mandalorian storylines that they wound up spinning out with them not taking their helmets off. I know there's a lot of questions because during the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, Mandalorians take their helmets off all the time. Don't worry, when we actually start getting Season 2 episodes, I'll explain what's going on with all those Easter eggs. They kind of did that same thing with inserting people into continuity from the prequels with Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost and Return of the Jedi. Speaking of Anakin Skywalker too, there's also talk of Hayden Christensen actually participating in the Obi-Wan Disney Plus series in some way. When they first announced the Obi-Wan series, I thought that it would be really cool if they did something like that, but I never expected them to try and do it. Because you have to consider whether or not it would be the scarred visage of Darth Vader Hayden Christensen underneath the mask, or if it would be Anakin Skywalker in Obi-Wan Kenobi memories or flashbacks or some sort of Force vision. But if they wind up confirming Hayden Christensen, then I'll do a new video about that, but that's kind of separate from the Boba Fett news. Number 3, the Boba Fett stuff is in addition to the Ahsoka Tano stuff during The Mandalorian Season 2, and usually I would say everything is connected within a season, all the different characters and storylines, but the way they structured The Mandalorian Season 1 is that not all the characters and storylines were connected, some of them were just one-offs, and because the Boba Fett teaser was on Tatooine and the Mando and Baby Yoda were only there for a stop-off, Ahsoka's story, the reason why Mando and Baby Yoda run into her, at least at first, doesn't seem like it's going to have a lot to do with this new Boba Fett story. Ahsoka is supposed to play a much bigger role during Season 2 than Boba Fett, so it's safe to assume that at some point, though, that the narrative Ahsoka's future will become more intertwined with Baby Yoda and the Mando story, and then that will start to spill over and cross over with the Boba Fett stuff. In fun fact, Dave Filoni just did a big interview for the Clone Wars finale. He revealed during that he only wrote and directed one episode of The Mandalorian Season 2. So my initial reaction after seeing that is that his episode would be the big Ahsoka episode. Because of course Dave Filoni should direct the Ahsoka episode if it's going to be her big live-action debut. She is the character that's most precious to him, and if you're a big Ahsoka fan, he said there might be more opportunities for animated Ahsoka series set after the Clone Wars finale, even though he said right now he's not currently working on more animated Star Wars series himself. He said that his work on The Mandalorian was keeping him so busy, he just didn't have time to start doing another animated show right now. Take that for what you will, but if you're wondering if Ashley Eckstein is going to do more Ahsoka stuff, at least Ahsoka voiceover stuff, it sounds like there are more plans to use animated Ahsoka around the Star Wars universe at some point. Number 2, what is Boba Fett going to be doing when he shows up during Mandalorian Season 2? Well, based on the teaser from The Mandalorian Episode 5, he was still on Tatooine. It's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so he's climbed out of the Sarlacc, and his armor looks a little bit different, a little more city miles on him, none the worse for wear. He's still got the special spurs that he wore on his feet that jangle like Clint Eastwood's spurs. That was actually the big clue that made us think that they were trying to tease Boba Fett, because he could have been anybody. The whole thing with the creation of the Boba Fett character is that they modeled him after Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name character from the spaghetti westerns. In those movies, he wore those special spoos on his bursts that would make that sound when he walked around. That's why they did that for Boba Fett during the original trilogy. But when we saw him in the episode, he was walking up to inspect Fennec Shan's body, another mercenary, so it's implied that he'd been hired by someone because Boba Fett is another bounty hunter like the Mando. But when we saw that episode, we didn't yet know who the real main villain of the season was, revealed to be Moff Gideon. Now I'm kind of assuming that Moff Gideon hired Boba Fett to track down Baby Yoda, because the Mandalorian series mostly trades on original trilogy references and Easter eggs. And Giancarlo Esposito confirmed my suspicions during Season 1 that they kind of modeled the Moff Gideon character to be sort of like a Darth Vader figure. That's why they put him in the black armor, that's why he wears a space cape, and that's why he wields a lightsaber, aka the Darksaber, and he's the main villain. Everyone remembers Empire Strikes Back, that classic bounty hunter lineup where Darth Vader hires them all to go after the Millennium Falcon. No disintegrations. So it makes sense they would have some similar type of twist on the Mandalorian series, with Moff Gideon hiring Boba Fett, one of the most badass bounty hunters in the galaxy, to go after Baby Yoda. That just makes you excited for a Mando versus Boba Fett standoff. There's all kinds of stuff built into that too, because part of the Mandalorian series is explaining their creed and why his belief system is the way it is, why they don't take their helmets off, how important their customs are to their culture, and the idea that Boba Fett is kind of a fake Mandalorian. Technically, he's just a bounty hunter who was cloned from another person who used to be a Mandalorian but then was disowned by the other Mandalorians. Jango Fett was at one time a Mandalorian but then sort of kicked out of their society. So technically during Attack of the Clones, he couldn't call himself a Mandalorian anymore. He was just someone who walked around wearing Mandalorian armor. So the same thing is true of Boba Fett. He's just somebody that walks around wearing Mandalorian armor. So think about how the other Mandalorians would feel about that. They'd be really pissed off if someone was walking around pretending to be a Mandalorian, but not following any of their customs or belief system. There's a whole lot built into that, so I'm not expecting them to cover all of that kind of story during Season 2. That sounds like something they could handle during Season 3 or Season 4. But number 1, the other obvious question is what about the Sarlacc pit? What happened after Return of the Jedi? Will we get that backstory and flashbacks during Season 2, or if his role is going to be relatively small, will they save that for Season 3? Right now, based on the way it sounds like they're using him during Season 2, it sounds like we're not going to get any of that backstory till future seasons. He'll just show up trying to track down Baby Yoda, they'll have a big standoff, a battle, and then that'll be it, and then we'll follow up with him during Season 3. The whole reason why you do him on the Mandalorian series, in addition to the fact that he wears Mandalorian armor, is the fact that the Mando is a bounty hunter, and the only other bounty hunter that we know that is even more badass than him right now in the galaxy would be Boba Fett. So if anyone's going to be able to take Baby Yoda from the Mando, it would be Boba Fett. Now this doesn't get into any of the Ahsoka storyline. Like if Ahsoka was flying around with the Mando and Baby Yoda, there's no way that Boba Fett would have a chance. So that's why I think that a lot of these stories won't really collide till later on. But everyone, let me know in the comments, what do you think about them doing live-action Boba Fett with Temuera Morrison? I think it's amazing that they went for him. Of course they would get him to play live-action Boba Fett. But I'm just really excited to see what it looks like. It sounds like we're going to get a trailer sometime later this year, but currently they're on schedule to release the Mandalorian Season 2 episodes in October. They already renewed The Mandalorian for Season 3, and they're working on Season 3 episodes right now. For those of you asking whether or not Tamira Morrison would also play a version of Rex on The Mandalorian, because obviously Rex is another clone who's still alive in present day, it's totally possible. There was the teaser that Dave Filoni posted as well, implying that they might do Rex in live action. But I guess we'll see. So what'll happen is there is a new Mandalorian documentary series that they released. I'll do a video for the first episode of that. It's on Disney Plus right now. They've already released 2 of those episodes. While you wait for everything, click here for all my Mandalorian Season 2 videos, and click here for my brand new Clone Wars finale video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. This is the way.